age 3. At the earliest memory of my being, I only knew my name was Ava. There was no race, religion, stereotype, or judgment attached to my name. The world was pure and innocent in my eyes, and there was no idea of cruelty. Instead, it was simply the world of discovery and the willingness to learn. At age 5, I spoke English, my thoughts were in English, and I was surrounded by English. The only time that I would speak Farsi was to my mother, and even then it was such a small amount. My parents immigrated to America from Iran, and they gave me the title of second generation. But I played the same games, understood jokes, and laughed alongside every child who was as American as me. I never saw the difference between me and others around me. At age 10, I was walking home from school with one of my best friends. We could talk about everything together, and laughing with her was so easy. And as we were crossing the street and she saw my mother waiting for me across the way, she stopped and she asked, "Are you a Muslim?" And I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what the word meant. So out of impulse, I said yes, and she stared into my eyes with a blank expression and said, "I'm a Christian. My mom and dad said Muslims and Christians can't be friends. I'm sorry. We can't ever talk again." And as I went home crying to my parents, and told them that I was blessed to be from two different cultures, that I was able to look at a situation from two different lights, the West and the East, but I did not feel blessed. At the time, I felt disadvantaged. I did not know what it meant to be a Muslim, but as I looked into the mirror, I saw a Muslim. I now see the girl named Ava, who is a Muslim. At age 12, I walked through the hallways of my middle school as Allahu Akbar was shouted at me as though I was the insurgent with bombs and wires duct taped around my chest, just like the video they saw last night. They feared me, but I told them my name is not fear, it's just Ava. I began to feel like a threat. Kids would ask me how many wives my dad had, and when I answered one, they wouldn't believe me, as though they knew more about me than I knew about myself, and in that sense, they were right. I didn't know that I was a terrorist. At age 15, I entered high school with a new form of identity. I never knew I was a Muslim, a societal box placed around my being as I was being pushed and pushed to act the way I was supposed to in their eyes. My favorite foods were blamed on my culture, my mistakes were blamed on my religion, my beliefs were blamed on my parents, my political views were un-American and wrong. It made no difference whether I was born in this country or not, because my skin screamed lies about me. At age 17, a girl messaged me and said, "Muslims hate pork, beer, dogs, bikinis, Jesus, and freedom of speech. So what did you come to America for?" She said that she did not believe what she said was racist because the news and history lessons don't lie. At age 17, a boy messaged me and said, "Muslim logic is crazy. They're offended by cartoons and criticism, but they're not offended by rape, slavery, pedophilia, beheadings, suicide bombings, and burning people alive. So tell me, why do all of you people think this way?" No, I am not all of you people. Billions of us are not the them. I will not be put into this generalized box. At age 17, I asked my father if I could go to church. Perhaps if I went to church, I could finally escape the sign that is plastered onto my head that reads, "You are a Muslim, you are a terrorist, you are a threat." He agreed. And as I walked through those church doors, I felt a second of relief. A woman asked me why I was there, and when I answered to learn, she said, "Church might not be fitting for you." I was rejected by God just like how I felt rejected by society. I wanted to stop being a Muslim and start being me. At age 17, I was able to witness Islamophobia sweeping this nation as certain politicians fed on the fears of the people as they're trying to wrap them up for battle. Muslims need to be ID'd. Incoming Muslims are to be banned. Mosques should be monitored. Muslims should be kicked out. Welcome to the land of the free. At age 17, I am a Muslim. I have never read the Quran. I do not follow traditions. I do not need to do these things to understand that Muslims are human too. I am a human, therefore I am Muslim, just like I am anything else. I do not want to live in a world where I'm 17 years old and must worry about the color of my children's skin just in case we have not taken action yet and they must experience pain in their lives. At age 17, I worry about our futures. We are all human. We must come together and sympathize with the persecuted and the oppressed and feel the pain they are bearing. We must take action. We cannot let darkness consume our hearts. We must follow the words of Martin Luther King Jr., who says that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.